Hi, this is Frank Shamrock, MMA legend, UFC superstar, and you're listening to MMA Crib Fighting Talk.
Gregory Stone, MMACrypt.com. On today's show, I'll be speaking with Houston the Assassin Alexander. Houston is set to face Virgil Zwicker in a rematch at Bellator 132. Their first bout at Bellator 129 went to a draw, of course, after Houston was deducted a point due to illegal headbutts in the fight. Hopefully we can talk to Houston about those illegal headbutts today, but before we get to all that, welcome to the show, Houston.
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, Houston. Okay, Houston, so I mentioned the headbutts in the introduction there. Let's get right down to it. Could you tell us exactly what happened in the last fight with Virgil Zwicker with the headbutts, please, in your opinion? And were the headbutts actually accidental?
Well, you know what? I believe so. You know, if you look at the film, I'm not even looking towards the head. I'm just kind of pinpoint where I'm at. And of course in jiu-jitsu and wrestling, they want you to keep your head underneath the chin. So maybe it was me being too aggressive, you know. But in MMA, you can't. There's no such thing as being too aggressive. So I'm not going to apologize for being too aggressive. But next time I'll just know where my head positioning will be at.
Did you agree with the referee taking a point from you? Because obviously it looked like it was to the chest, of course. It wasn't to the face, the headbutts. It was to the chest mainly. So did you sort of agree with him taking a point off you?
Yeah, because I didn't see it. You know, the first initial call when they run it back, I was actually trying to hit the guy's chest. Yeah. You know, I really wasn't trying to. I wasn't aiming, and I wasn't even looking at the guy's head when I was doing the act. So I was trying to initially hit the guy's chest, and you know, the referee. That's his job, and you know, and again, maybe if I was just too over zealous with it, who knows? I was just aggressive, man. But I didn't see it. I didn't see it at first. But you know, especially when you're fighting for head position. But Virgil did a good job of acting.
Do you sort of feel like, because I spotted this in the fight, I sort of felt like when the referee stood you up and you know, he warned you for the first one. And then the second one, obviously, he took a point away. But with Virgil, he sort of gave Virgil time to recover from the illegal headbutts. Now, you didn't exactly hurt, in my opinion, you didn't hurt Virgil Zwicker with the headbutts, but he sort of milked it. He milked the time, sort of like acting like you were Tim, and he was taking a fair bit of time to get his breath back. You know, to me, he was obviously taking a breather. Did you sort of feel like he milked the time a little bit and he was playing possum and pretending that he was hurt from the headbutts?
Exactly, because you know I really didn't headbutt him that hard. So and you know I guess if you're tired and you want to milk the time, that's fine, because I felt he was about to go. I'm gonna be honest. I can feel him about to go. So you know he had two opportunities in that fight to actually recuperate, and those were that was my mistake. You know that's. On all accounts, that was my mistake for giving him the rest. So I'm not going to blame him for milking it, because maybe if it was me, maybe I would have milked it too. But who knows? Who knows? But if you could see it, the whole world saw it. But it's all good. That was my fault.
Well, after the point deduction and the rest stood you up, he said he would DQ you if there was another headbutt in the fight. Obviously, later on in round 3, you did take Virgil down. Was you sort of tentative with where you was placing your head for the rest of the fight in fear of, you know, getting disqualified?
Well, you know, even when the point was taken away from me, you saw where I put my head. I put my head right back underneath his chin.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just something that happened, and it's something that I'll prevent, and I'll be well aware of it the next time. So you know, I'm not worried about where my head placement is going to be. I'm not worried about where his head placement is going to be. I'm just going to be more aware of what I'm doing.
Well, obviously, judges' scorecards, they always vary with every single fight. Now, watching the fight, I still felt like you took all 3 rounds, and even with the point deduction, I still felt you should have got the victory. One judge seen it that way, but the other 2 judges felt it was a draw with the point deduction. How did you score the fight? Did you still think that you should have won the fight and be given the victory by the judges, even with the point deduction?
Yeah, you know, and that was, I'm glad you brought that up, because you know, I thought it was ahead a little bit more than that, because I controlled the whole fight. I took him down numerous of times. Because if that was the old me, I'm sure if I was put on my back I'm sure the judges would have been like, okay, he's not doing anything. So if I'm controlling the fight, I'm taking the guy down, and I'm still doing pretty good with stand up. He might have got a few hits in there, but he didn't control the fight. I controlled the pace. So I thought I was ahead a little bit more than a few points. So I didn't think that point was going to hurt me. And again, everyone saw what I saw. I controlled the match. I was taking the guy down, and I was doing more of the ground and pound. So that's all that needs to be said. The judges, I guess the judges saw different. You had two judges whose points didn't count, and then one judge had me ahead. Who knows, man? I don't know how they end up being a tie, but it ended up being a tie.
Yeah, I sort of feel like if two judges score a draw and one judge says that you win, I still think that you should win. It sort of breaks the tie, doesn't it, really?
And again, I don't know how they came up with it, but guess what? That's why we have fight number 2, and and that's what we're going to decide it on Friday.
Well, let's move forward to the rematch with Virgil Zwicker. That takes place Bellator 132 on the 16th of January. That's in Temecula, California. Now, I have to ask you, Houston, are you sort of happy with having back-to-back fights with Virgil?
I have no problem with who they put in front of me. But just to have, Virgil's not a bad guy. He's like myself. We know that we have a job to do. We know we have to go in the ring and do our jobs. But outside of that, he's a good guy. And I try to be a good guy outside the ring too. But when it's time to go, when the cage door slams, all the good guy stuff goes out the door. We got to go to work. So I have no problem whoever they put in front of me. It's time to go to work, and it just happens to be the same guy I had last time, and this time we're going to close the books on it.
Who pushed for the rematch? Was it yourself? Because you said you want to close the book on it. Was it Bellator to finally set the record straight? Who should have won the fight, or possibly Virgil?
I think Bellator. I think Bellator really wanted to see the rematch because the fight wasn't boring. It was pretty exciting fight.
Yeah.
With all things aside, besides the headbutt and then the waiting, it was still a pretty interesting fight. So I think we're going to give them another give the audience another nail biter fight because it was a nail biter. So Bellator was pretty good at giving us this rematch because it's good television.
Well, obviously, from your perspective, you was set to face James Thompson. Obviously, Virgil coming on short notice, so it's probably a little bit nicer to prepare for Virgil this time instead of James Thompson, then Virgil on like a week's notice. The same for Virgil himself, because obviously he didn't have a full training camp. He did gas near the end of the fight, so I'm sort of expecting Virgil to come in a little bit better shape this time. Are you expecting to see Virgil Zwicker in better shape for the rematch?
You know what? I expect him to be in better shape, and I believe that it was the three opponents. There were two more opponents that we got changed. We got two. There was two guys before Virgil that changed up on us. So we had 3 people change up. A third person change up before we ended up with Virgil.
Who was the other one?
It just goes to show you that we don't care who they put in front of us. We're going to be prepared no matter what. And whatever condition the guy's in, we don't care who it's going to be. We'll be ready. We'll be just worried about us being ready. We're worried about my conditioning and me forcing my will on those guys. So it don't matter who it is.
Well, you mentioned that. I want to know your mindset going into the fight. You said that you don't care who it is, but obviously, I sort of feel like you defeated Virgil in the first fight. One of the judges thought that you defeated him. Does this give you added confidence going into the rematch with Virgil, or do you sort of expect a different Virgil Zwicker?
You know what? I expect a different Virgil. Again, he took the fight at the last minute. So that was very. They had a lot of confidence in him to come in and for him to do that. And again, people are in the ring for a reason. You're on this level for a reason. So you need to be ready at all times. And he just happens to be ready. So I think him having a full training camp this time, I think he'll be really solid. He'll be really really ready. And he's been in the ring with me, so I think he didn't expect for me to take him down so many times. I don't think a lot of these guys nowadays don't respect my wrestling, but they're going to have to respect it now, and they're going to have to respect my ground and pound, and they're going to have to respect my grappling and my jiu-jitsu now. So You can't look at film. You can't look at film at me now and go, okay, we'll just take him down. Because if you take me down or try to take me down, then you end up getting reversed on it and getting reversed, and I end up taking you down or end up ground and pounding you. So we both probably had a great camp, and I think that this fight is going to be different. I think we're going to be moving faster against each other, and I think it's going to be a more exciting fight. I honestly believe that.
Well, you said that it's going to be a different fight, but was there anything from the first fight where you sort of felt like you gained the superior upper hand over Virgil Zwicker and gained a lot of success? I sort of noticed that you got in his half guard and you created a lot of ground and pound damage from there, punches to the body, punches to the head. So I would assume that you might want to go back to being in his half guard and get some ground and pound on him.
I think we're gonna change up a little bit, just a little bit. I think we're gonna stick with almost the same game plan, but I think we're just gonna do a little bit more moving around. We're gonna do a little bit more motioning. So all I can tell our audience out there, or your audience that's listening, it's gonna be a way different fight, and I really think it's gonna be more exciting.
Well, sticking with the takedowns and ground and pound for a second, I did notice that when you took Virgil down, you pressed him up against the cage so he couldn't escape, and you landed your ground and pound from there. Obviously, it works well for you, but I did notice in the fight a couple of times Virgil used the cage to get back to his feet. Now, I'm assuming if it's a close round, would you potentially take Virgil down in the centre of the cage? Obviously, you might not get as much ground and pound off, but it would obviously stop him from getting back to his feet, because he seemed to struggle to get back to his feet when you had him in the centre of the cage.
Okay, well, you know what? The situation where if he does get up against the cage like that, he's not going to be getting up. Because we again, after looking at film and then watching the last fight, I think we rectified the situation. We saw the weaknesses of me having him up against the cage, and I think we rectified it. So there's not going to be any getting up when you're on the cage this time.
Well, you did take him straight back down too, so that was a plus. So
yeah.
I mentioned about the ground and pound to the body. Now, this is very, very rare in MMA. You don't see a lot of fighters do it. Obviously, they go to the face with punches and elbows and hammer fists, hopefully to set up submissions, and hopefully maybe their opponent will turn over and give up the back. But we very rarely see punches to the body. Is this something that you specifically did for Virgil Zwicker, because he doesn't exactly have the abs that you do? Or, is this something that you do in most of your fights, punches to the body?
You know what? This is something that my coach preached to me this past couple of years. No one's hitting to the body. You got a lot of people who are trying to hit to the face, but they're not pressuring the body. And in the past maybe 2 or 3 fights, I've been hitting to the body a lot more, and I generate a lot of energy that close. So those body shots from that close range are hurting, because I can hit pretty hard at close range. So that's something that my coach has been preaching to me the past couple of years. Body shot, body shot, body shots. And it'll open up. It'll always open up something else if you keep hitting the guy with a body shot. I don't know what the judges were looking at, but I was hitting body shots the whole entire fight.
There's another thing I noticed in the first fight. When you put your head on his chest, on Virgil's chest, he was using downward elbows in the third round. Obviously, he must be thinking to himself, I gained a lot of success with those downward elbows. Will you be looking to avoid putting your head on his chest if you do take him down, just to avoid those elbows, because he landed some pretty vicious downward elbows on you in the third round?
Well, you know what? Again, we saw the film and we rectified the situation, so we don't see any of that stuff happening this time. So if I execute what I'm really supposed to execute, that's not going to happen at all this time. We're going to be in better. We're going to be in better position.
Okay, I won't try and dig into your game plan anymore there, Houston.
No, that's fine. There's no game plan. Our game plan is to go out there and win at all costs. It doesn't matter if they know about the game plan or not. He has to stop me from doing it.
Well, you can also tell him lies and get him worried about something else that you're going to do when you're not actually going to do it. So you can play games on the interview if you chose to. Okay, Houston, is there anything that you'd like to say to the listeners that will be tuning in live on Spike TV, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, January 16th, to watch your fight with Virgil?
Well, we'll appreciate it. I appreciate everyone for the support all around the world. I appreciate you having me on your show, and I want to have a special thanks to all my family, fans, and friends out there. So all the people that been supporting me from day one. My coaches, Coach Curly Alexander, Bodler, Ryan Jensen, Badani, And a lot of the sponsors that's been helping us out from day one. Rotella, Nissan of Omaha, Tommy Tires. You got those guys who've been day one, and I just appreciate you having me on your show today. So everyone that's out there listening right now, make sure you stay tuned on this Friday, January 16th, to Bellator 132 is going down with my man Virgil Zwicker. It's probably going to be one of the fights of the night, so you better stay tuned.
It's our pleasure as always, Houston.
Well, hey, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay, from the MMA Crypt Fighting Talk Show, thank you for watching.